I'm Haley.
Hey, I'm Courtney.
And we're Extension in the Kitchen. Today we're going to start with a simple stir-fry recipe, and there's lots of really good vegetables in this, and Courtney's going to tell you a little bit about the nutrition information.
Even though they're only vegetables and this recipe calls for brown rice, there are protein, you've got fiber with all your vegetables as well, vitamin A and vitamin C, and you've even got ginger, so you've got lots of nutritional benefits.
So the first thing we're going to do in this recipe, we're going to crank up the heat on our pan here.
Turn it to medium.
Medium to medium high.
Okay.
And Courtney, go ahead and add the oil. So today we've got canola oil, but this recipe you can use peanut oil, canola oil, or whatever oil that you prefer. In general, you want to stick with an oil that is liquid at room temperature. That's going to be a little bit healthier for you. And we're going to do just 1 tablespoon. If you notice you need a little bit more, you can add a little bit more. If you like a little bit less, that's fine too. All right, so while we're getting that heated, we are going to start prepping all of our veggies. And the first thing that you want to do when you're prepping your veggies is we're going to make sure they're all clean. So we're going to rinse them off under cool water. And so let's go throw those in.
Okay.
Courtney's going to do our broccoli. There's those. And our peppers. And I'm going to show you how to do our onions, our ginger, and our carrots. So now that we have our vegetables washed, we are going to start by getting our firmest vegetables cut up first. Those are the first ones you want to get put into the pan so that everything kind of cooks at a more even rate. So Courtney's going to take care of our broccoli. She's just going to trim off. We're using the top of the broccoli. We're going to kind of cut off that main stem there. And cut it into smaller pieces so that it works for you. So some people might want it little bigger pieces, some might want smaller. That's up to you completely. That's the fun thing about cooking, is that you really get to make it your own and have fun with it. All right, so while she's cutting up the broccoli, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna go ahead and start on the onion. So onions can be a little bit tricky to cut, but once you get the hang of it, they're a lot of fun. And I hope that cutting onions don't make you cry. Luckily, I'm pretty good about avoiding that. But the first thing that you want to do is, you see the root side, we're gonna leave that root on. We're gonna turn it to the side, keeping those fingers out of the way. We're gonna cut off the very end of our onion. And we're just going to peel that off. We don't want that outside layer. And of course I'm getting stuff everywhere, but we're going to get it, y'all. All right. Okay, so once we get that outer layer off, we're gonna put it down on the flat side with that root sticking up. And then you're gonna take your knife and press firmly down the very center of that onion. All right, now we've got 2 little halves. Now you're gonna treat each half the same. We're gonna make little cuts down just like this. Making sure you keep those fingers back. We want to keep those, y'all. Now, if you were to want this even smaller, we could have taken it and cut right down the center first as well. But I like my pieces just a little bit bigger. So now we went this way, we're gonna turn it and we're gonna cut the opposite way. Okay. All right. So let's see if this is getting heated up. It is. So we can start, go ahead and we're gonna put these pieces of broccoli in. All right. Let those start cooking and I'll cut our other side of our onion just the same, and I'll show you the other way too. So if you were wanting, if you had a really big onion, you could put your hand on top and cut right through the middle, being very careful not to go all the way through. We're gonna turn it again. We're gonna do those cuts up on top along with the grooves of our onion. And then turn and slice the other way. Okay? And always make sure to point your knife away from you because you definitely don't want to cut yourself. Okay? So we've got our toughest vegetable in. Now the difference between a stir fry and a saute is that with a stir fry, we're actually going to keep the food moving as often as we can. If you have any leaves from your broccoli in, you can kind of just take those out. And with a saute, you kind of just let it sit and brown. So that's really the main difference. They're both great, healthy methods of cooking. So next I like to throw in my onion because onions add a ton of flavor. Do you like onion, Courtney?
No.
She doesn't like onion. She doesn't like mushrooms either, but we're gonna teach her, guys. The best way to start trying new foods is to start growing them, start cooking with them. Next thing you know, you're eating them. So we're gonna win her over eventually. All right, we got these going.
I'm gonna start on the peppers.
All right, peppers?
Yep.
Okay. All right, she's gonna do a couple of them.
You wanna do one?
And I'll do one too to help you out, all right? Do you wanna talk us through it or do you want me to do that?
I'll do it.
All right,
Okay,
tell us how to do it.
Okay, first we're gonna
Sweet.
cut the head off
Okay,
and then turn it around and cut the end off.
all right,
And then we're gonna set it back upright. And then we're gonna make a slit
perfect.
on one of the sides. That kind of opens it up a little bit and you can turn it back on. And then you're gonna open it and cut the little pieces, cut the inside out. And that kind of takes away the mess.
No seeds to deal with, right?
There we go.
Woohoo!
Makes it easy.
it.
And then you can just cut it into strips.
Pretty impressive.
Yes.
So now we can do our strips. Or you might like smaller pieces. Again, do this stir fry however you want. But the key is, you know, try to add a bunch of different colors because the more colors you add to your recipe, the healthier it's gonna be. And I'm not talking about like Skittles. I'm talking about fruits and vegetables, you know, adding a lot of different colors like that from healthy foods. So that's gonna add a lot of different good nutrients. Right, Courtney?
All right, let's put them in there.
Getting it done.
Oh yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Great. Let's stir that up a little bit. I'm going to cut this orange one.
Pretty. So we're just letting this stuff cook up and get a little tender, but we definitely want to keep the bright color. Okay?
Okay.
So we're going to cook this for a minute or two. We're gonna keep this moving as much as we can. Unless you want it a little bit brown, you might let it kind of sit a little bit. But in general, with our stir fry, we're really gonna keep it moving. All right, while she finishes that up, I'm gonna go ahead and cut up some of these carrots as well. These are kind of an extra. Uh-oh, I lost one. Oh, there we go. And we kind of had these extra and decided, why not throw them in? We weren't gonna originally put them in, but why not add some extra veggies to our dish? Or you could have them as a little snack. They're great with hummus. Now, I've had someone in a class recently, it was actually yesterday, we did this recipe, and they asked, now could I use frozen vegetables? And to that I say absolutely. You can get the already pre-cut if you're on a time crunch, or maybe the vegetables aren't in season, so they're a little bit more expensive and you're wanting to be a little bit more on a budget. Then you could definitely go ahead and get vegetables that are already pre-cut for you and save a little bit of time and money. But in my opinion, the fresher is definitely better. It tastes just a lot better. So you've got options for sure. All right, that's looking good. Okay. So the next step we're going to do, and Courtney, if you'll just kind of keep stirring that up for us. I'm just going to move this stuff out of the way. We'll let that cook up a little bit before we add our mushrooms in. And while we wait on that, I'm going to show you guys how to grate up our ginger. Ginger is a great, it's like, a spice to a recipe. It's really delicious. Adds a ton of flavor. And one thing that I like to tell people about herbs and spices is that whenever you are doubling a recipe, you really want to be careful not to double your herbs and spices right off the bat, because some of them have very strong flavors. So you really want to make sure you try it first and then gradually add as necessary. You can actually buy already dried and ginger in the spice section, or you can get this ginger root. And this is how we're going to work with it. We're just going to take a vegetable peeler, or you can use a knife, whichever is easiest for you. And we're literally going to peel that outer layer off of the ginger. And we're going to make it to where we can see that flesh of our ginger. Sometimes these peelers can be a little hard to manage. If you don't get it all off, it's not the end of the world, but that flavor is going to come from that flesh of our ginger, so we really want to get down to that. Okay. All right. Once you do that, we can then use your grater of choice, and you're just going to grate your ginger. And this recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of grated fresh ginger. It actually called for, I don't think we said it, but 3 cups of vegetables. You might like more vegetables than that. We like a lot of veggies.
We've added veggies.
We've added a lot of veggies for sure. So I love ginger. It just adds a pop of flavor to any recipe, especially this awesome stir fry.
Look at all the colors.
That's beautiful. Gorgeous. All right, we've got a lot here. Let's see if we've got enough for 2 teaspoons. Okay.
Okay.
And if you'll just continue to stir that in for us. And Courtney, go ahead and add those mushrooms too.
Okay.
I think that would be a good time to do it. Yum.
Okay. Okay.
So on Med instead of meds.com, again, that's where we got this recipe. It's an extension resource. I'm thinking about, because of those mushrooms, there are some other recipes on there that utilize mushrooms instead of meat. So you can take out some of the meat to really add more veg to it. There's a, I think it's a beef and mushroom hamburger. It's delicious. So mushrooms are a good way to kind of cut out some of the meat if you're looking to back off on that too. So
I think I'm gonna add a little bit more.
a little bit more oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, we added a lot of veggies, so we're gonna add just maybe a tablespoon more of oil.
Let's add 1 tablespoon. There we go.
Perfect. Yeah, it's smelling so good in here. All right, so now once we kind of start cooking those down, the last step is adding in our soy sauce. And today we are going to use a low sodium soy sauce, because one of the things about the American diet is that we tend to overdo our sodium, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so it really leads to some of our heart diseases, which is one of the leading causes of death. So to kind of help prevent some of those things, we really want to choose some lower sodium options. And I love soy sauce, but once you get used to the low sodium, it's just as good. So the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons,
Yep,
right?
2 tablespoons.
Okay. But since we increased the size of our recipe, we're gonna shoot for 3. And this is just gonna add some good flavor, give it a little bit of moisture in there.
Yes.
Wow, that looks great.
Yes, it does. It smells great.
And that's all there is to it, to the simple stir fry. Other than that, you can pair this stir fry with a grain of choice, with a protein of choice to make it more of a full meal. I love putting stir fry with whole grain noodles, whole grain brown rice. Today we're actually going to do that. We've got some whole grain brown rice. Today we chose just a quick microwave whole grain brown rice. Again, if you're in a hurry and you don't have time to cook brown rice, it sometimes takes 45 minutes to do that. It's a long time. So you can just easily pick this up and pop it in the microwave. Either way works. But brown rice is a great source of what? Like
Protein.
Protein.
It actually has, 1 bag actually has 5 grams of protein.
That's
so
awesome.
lots of protein, and then you've got your mushrooms for some protein. So
mushrooms.
Yes.
It has great fiber in it too. Great fiber. So we're gonna put that on top of our rice here in a minute. And we also went ahead and we sauteed some chicken breast. So chicken breast is gonna be lower in fat than your darker meat, so it's a great choice for protein. You can cut it up into small pieces, put it in the pan, cook up a bunch of chicken, and you have it prepped to add to meals like this. All right. Okay, now we're just gonna plate this up because I'm getting hungry. How about you?
yes, very.
Gosh, it smells so good. So I like to start off with my rice. All right.
Okay.
Let's add lots of veggies
Let's
on
do
there.
veggies.
Here, I'll bring it to you.
Thank you.
Give me some more, Courtney.
Okay.
I'm hungry.
Gotcha.
Perfect.
One more.
Oh, goodness.
Won't hurt you.
Wow. All right. Yes, load up on those veggies. They're low in calories, guys. All right, and then we're going to pop on some of our lean protein. And we're ready to eat.
There we go.
So we're going to go enjoy this now. Please join in with us next time.
We've got lots of more healthy recipes.